ibye twatsinda burundu akarengane na ruswa. U Rwanda ruzira ruswa n'akarengane mu cyerekezo 2050. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.
Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
Tuned to Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umugano. The headlines. Rwandans and friends of Rwanda gathered in Kinigi sector, Musanze district, to name 20 baby gorillas born in the last 12 months. Thousands of young innovators and leaders from around the world will gather in Kigali next month for the 5th edition of the Youth Connect Summit. An international team of paleontologists have uncovered what they believe to be the oldest dinosaur skeleton ever discovered in Africa. Welcome back. News in detail. Rwandans and friends of Rwanda gathered in Kinigi sector, Musanze district, northern province, to name 20 baby gorillas born in the last 12 months. Today's ceremony, which took place at the foothills of Volcanoes National Park, marks the 18th edition of the international conservation event held in Rwanda. It brought together global leaders, philanthropists, conservation champions, as well as sports, music and fashion stars. Among the distinguished guests given the honor of naming a baby mountain gorilla. The Prince of Wales, Charles Philip, who named one of the baby gorillas, virtually noted that Rwanda is embarking on an ambitious project to expand Africa's oldest park, Volcanoes National Park.
Distinguished namers, friends in Rwanda, Muraho. I am most touched to have been asked by the Rwandan Development Board to name a baby gorilla at this year's Kwita Izina ceremony. I had the great pleasure of visiting Rwanda during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in June this year, where I heard about the remarkable conservation work that Rwanda has carried out and continues to carry out to safeguard wildlife for generations to come. Rwanda is embarking on an ambitious project to expand Africa's oldest national park, Volcanoes National Park. This once-in-a-generation initiative will expand the park by approximately 23%. This expansion of the Volcanoes National Park will, I hope, ensure a bright future for the mountain gorillas that call it home. The baby I'll be naming is a male baby gorilla, born on the 29th of April 2022 from the Muhozai family to its mother, Agasaro. The name I give him is Ubguzuzanwe, which means harmony, since the restoration of harmony and balance between nature, people and planet is the most critical issue facing humanity that we must tackle with extreme urgency. Otherwise, these and other magnificent creatures and their precious habitats will be lost forever.
Claire Akamanzi, the CEO of Rwanda Development Board, noted that conservation thrives where there is safety and security.
Our mountain gorillas are part of this unique heritage, found only in 3 countries in the world. Seeing them is a unique bucket list experience for many from all over the world. And yet, unfortunately, in 1996, IUCN had classified these creatures as critical endangered, facing a threat of extinction. The good news, however, is that in 2018, mountain gorillas were reclassified from critical endangered to endangered, a recognition of their improved well-being and owing to collective conservation efforts by all of you represented here today. So a big thank you. Right Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all the organizers of Kwita Izina, allow me to conclude by giving special thanks to the following. First, the First Lady of Rwanda. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Your Excellency, you have championed conservation through Kwita Izina from the very first edition in 2005, where together with His Excellency the President, you gave names to twin babies. We are very happy to report today that they have grown into happy, healthy adults. Jeshimo is now a responsible silverback, while his sister Imano is a proud mother of 2. Second, to the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Rwanda, who is representing His Excellency the President and the government of Rwanda. Thank you for not only guaranteeing safety and stability for citizens and visitors of our country, but also for the gorillas and other wildlife. Conservation thrives where there's safety and security. And as you've already heard, we now have a good problem to solve. The growing population needs a bigger home. Third, to the namers of this year's Kwita Izina, as well as those of the past editions, thank you very much for being part of this conservation story. The babies you have named will be thrilled to keep in touch with you and show you all the things they learn as they grow. Your time and support today is invaluable and immensely appreciated. Fourth, our conservation partners. We appreciate the work that you did with us to ensure gorillas were safe during the COVID-19 pandemic and that tourism continued within this context. I am very pleased to report that all your efforts paid off. The first half of 2022 already indicated that we had reached 80% of tourism revenues pre-pandemic, while revenues of national parks, including the Volcanoes National Park, have slightly exceeded pre-pandemic levels. Recovery is underway. Fifth, thank you to the investors and philanthropists who continue to believe in our sector. Despite the pandemic, we registered total new investments in the tourism sector worth $353 million in 2020 and 2021. New additions in our tourism sector include Cleo in Karongi, Umva Lodge in Guamagana, 4 Points in Kigali, the hot air balloon in Akagera, Ellen campus of Dian Fossey here in Kinigi, as well as the acquisition of Hotel Umuano by Movenpick, a brand of Accor. All this happened during the pandemic, and there are many, many more hotels, investments, and apartments in Rwanda. Finally, I want to thank the communities living around the national parks for the exemplary support in conservation. Our conservation work aims at improving their lives too. Without the support of our communities, there simply would be no effective conservation.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Izina, who represented the head of state, commended all participants of the event and extended appreciation to residents in the outskirts of national parks for being good conservation partners. He described Kwita Izina as a significant event which does not only recognize the value of gorillas in the country's tourism, but also contribute in no smaller part to conservation efforts.
Our distinguished guests, Rwanda protects its natural heritage by investing in people. That is why our tourism revenue sharing scheme is such an important part of our conservation strategy. By investing in the community that surrounds our national parks, we are building a strong constituency for conservation that will span generations. Given the threats we face from biodiversity loss, climate change, and pollution, we are called on to expand our network of national parks and create new protected areas that restore our rural and urban wetlands and parks in general. In this regard, the Volcano National Park will be expanded to accommodate the growing number of gorillas and improve their resilience to threats including climate change. The park's expansion will also benefit communities through new economic opportunities, increased tourism and job creation. Tourism is our strategic priority in our country, and it is great to see the sector recovering following the impact of the COVID-19. The government's rapid and successful response to the pandemic has succeeded in protecting lives of people and support recovery of businesses affected by COVID-19, especially tourism. This made it possible for tourism sector, among others, to quickly resume operations and safeguard jobs. We are therefore happy to welcome back tourists who can once again enjoy all that Rwanda, our country, has to offer.
Since 2005, the government of Rwanda initiated the Tourism Revenue Sharing Program, which aimed at guiding investment in the areas surrounding the various national parks in Rwanda by ensuring that a portion of all park revenues is given back to the communities. In 2017, the percentage allocated for community projects increased from 5% to 10%. Thousands of young innovators and leaders from around the world will gather in Kigali next month for the 5th edition of the Youth Connect Summit Africa. The Continental Summit, organized by Youth Connect Africa Hub, the government of Rwanda, and the United Nations Development Programme, is an annual event that brings together policymakers, business leaders, development partners, and civil society to address issues affecting young people and involve them in the process of developing solutions. Organizers announced that this year's summit, titled Accelerating Investments in Youth, Resilient Africa, will draw 10,000 innovators, champions and leaders from Africa and beyond. The summit, which is scheduled for October 13th to 15th, will focus on the role of youth in climate action. Rosemary Mbabazi, the Minister of Youth and Culture, noted that participants will discuss issues that shape today's world. The Northern Foundation Kigali has launched a new facility that will allow it to host more than 1,000 entrepreneurs and innovators. Manzi Prince has more on this report.
Since 2019, the Swedish Co-working Space and Investment Fund has been running an entrepreneurship hub in Kigali aimed at providing a collaborative environment where education, innovation and entrepreneurship join to generate scalable growth and development both in Kigali and beyond. Some of the young people say that their technology projects and activities are progressing faster as a result of their work at Norskin, where they have more opportunities to meet entrepreneurs from other institutions.
I think since we've joined in January, we've been, very blessed to have great team members join the team. We've had, great interactions with potential investors, and also it is a great place for mentorship, for young people to be able to grow in their careers. So Norskin has been a great place for Pesa Choice to be at, and also for myself. So I mentioned I do expansion for Pesa Choice. We met a lot of our expansion partners here at Norskin. One client just walked in and was like, hey, we really would love this for Ivory Coast. And we're like, well, sure as heck, let's hop on a plane and go to Ivory Coast, right? So it's been, the opportunity for expansion. For me, I did international business in college, so this is something I've always been passionate about, is business cross-culturally. The second part really is the team, right? We have a very young team. The median age at Pesa Choice is 27 years old, and that's because our CEO is in his 40s. If you remove him, we're 25. So it's been a great place for the team, because the team is very, it's a very open team, very young team, very dynamic team, and we're able to just, express ourselves through our...
First, it's connections, because here at Norskin there are many companies, many startups, many organizations that works from different countries and different sectors. So that connections and thinking big, not at the national level but at the international levels, all those helps us to even improve the products that we prepare for our customers.
It's a very conducive environment. I came here to connect with people. I came here to have access to very good internet. I came here to learn, because we have lunch and learn every time, even today. But also I came here because of infrastructures. We have a very good internet. We have good building. We have good furnitures. Internet is very fast, and the lighting, whatever. What you need as an entrepreneur who is working most, especially in technology, is that kind of environment where every infrastructure that helps you to operate is.
The administration of Norskin says that the institution was established with the purpose of helping startup entrepreneurs to contribute to their role to the development of the world. The managing director of Norskin, Marcel Pascal, noted that the objective is to facilitate these young people engaged in technology activities to get tangible resources to run their activities.
People in this country, not only in Rwanda but also even the region, across the continent, with very brilliant innovations and very brilliant ideas. But what they lack is resources, mostly capital. So they need money, they need investments. So the overall idea of what we provide here is an opportunity, or is a space for these young innovators to meet the people that can invest in their businesses. And that's why we started building this, and we're very strategically located in the city center, so that we can ease access to those entrepreneurs, but also those partners that want to be able to invest in them.
Norskin opened the second phase of its buildings, increasing the capacity to 100 people from the 318 that the hub could accommodate. The entire project is valued at $20 million. The entire project is valued at $20 million. Alod Iradukunda, the National Youth Council coordinator, said that the new space will greatly benefit the youth and will have an impact on the overall development of the country.
I think as youth, we benefit a lot from spaces like this, because it's an opportunity for us to for the youth who have ideas, business ideas, to develop them in terms of financial support, but also in terms of ideation process, because not only do you have the opportunity to get matched with investors, but you also get the opportunity to meet with your peers, understand the issues shoes and understand their challenges so that you don't have to repeat the same sort of mistakes as well. So as a country, we actually get somewhere that we want to get.
All the Norskin buildings were constructed under environment conservation regulations, where over 90% of electricity used in the hub is from solar energy. Mans Prince, Radio Imanzi.
The UN Under-Secretary General for Department of Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, has lauded the performance of Rwandan peacekeepers in peace support operations. Lacroix particularly recognized the contribution and impact of Rwandan female peacekeepers, especially in addressing gender-based violence-related matters. We shall come back with economic items after the advertisement.
Urifuza kumenya ubuhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo bukorera mu Rwanda? Bella Flowers ni umushinga ugamije guteza imbere ubuhinzi bw'indabo ndetse no kuzamura ubucuruzi ku isoko mpuzamahanga. Nyarukira kuri YouTube channel ya Radio Imanzi wirebera ubuhinzi bw'indabo muri Bella Flowers. Nitinda kora subscribe kugira ngo urusheho kujya usobanukirwa byimbitse ku buhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo binyuze muri Bella Flowers. Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded its turnover of 183,150,200 Rwandan francs from 1,014,300 shares traded in 9 deals on the equities market and 6,513,000 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 2 deals on the fixed income market. M10 Rwanda closed the counter at 180 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded its turnover of 130,266,000 Rwandan francs from 723,700 shares traded in 1 deal. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 272 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 24,099,200 Rwandan francs from 88,600 shares traded in 2 deals. Brega closed the counter at 165 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded its turnover of 16,665,000 Rwandan francs from 101,000 shares traded in 3 deals. Simerwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded its turnover of 12,120,000 Rwandan francs from 101,000 shares traded in 3 deals. The rest of the equities counters closed with I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370, National Media Group at 1,200, Uchumi Supermarket at 104, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 and the selling price was 0.44. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.27 and the selling price was 0.275. Burundian franc buying price was 0.5 and the selling price was 0.51. The US dollar buying price was 1,025 and the selling price was 1,045. The British pound buying price was 1,184 and the selling price was 1,207. The euro buying price was 1,022 and the selling price was 1,042.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Africa's nations must develop strategies to address climate change, which poses an existential threat to the continent's megacities, Gabon's President Ali Bongo Ondimba said at the third Africa Climate Week conference. He said African officials and experts should sharpen the positions they represent at the 27th Annual United Nations Climate Conference to be held in Egypt in November. The third African Climate Meeting is bringing together more than 1,000 government officials and stakeholders in Gabon's capital, Libreville. They are working to form strong African regional climate responses. An international team of paleontologists have uncovered what they believe to be the oldest dinosaur skeleton ever discovered in Africa. The skeleton of the Brachiosaurus rati, described as a long-necked plant-eating dinosaur, was found in northern Zimbabwe. The White House has announced it would unveil official portraits of former U.S. President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama next week. It's been more than a decade since then President Obama and his wife Michelle welcomed back his predecessor in the Oval Office, George W. Bush, and Bush's wife Laura for the unveiling of their White House portraits, part of a beloved Washington tradition that for decades managed to transcend partisan politics. President Biden, family and staff. U.S. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will host the Obamas for the ceremony on September 7th. The G7 finance ministers have agreed to implement a price cap on Russian origin crude oil and